What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Steve's Random Stuff. It's time once again to tie one on. It's a monthly video I do to go over all the baits I got rigged up for our upcoming Redwood Empire Bass Club tournament. This month's tournament for October 2023 is on the California Delta, launching out of B&W Marina on October 14th, I believe. That is tomorrow. So just want to go over all the baits that I got rigged up, and I got all my rods out here. Nothing's in the box. Kind of went through everything, re-rigged, got a variety of baits, colors. Just, you know, I don't go, like I said, I don't go out there too often. Only a few times a year, so, you know, mixing things up quite a bit. And based on the information I've seen online from like Steve Cooper on In Deep in the Delta and others. Alan Fong's another one, has a good weekly report. Sounds like the bite's been picking up. And crankbaits, jerk baits, according to Steve, and as well as punching and flipping and stuff. So got a bunch of that tied on, some top water and such. So I'll go through all that. But before we get into that, I'm sure you're all wondering what I'm drinking tonight. And today I'm drinking a Pop Fuji. This is from Brewery West down in LA Harbor, actually in San Pedro, California. Brewery West, you can see how that's spelt right there. It's a nice unfiltered Pilsner. So cheers. If you're down in the LA area and near San Pedro, LA Harbor, check them out. Some good beers. So anyways, no particular order. I'll just go through what I got rigged up. Top water bait. Seen this before in prior videos. This is the Vixen. This is the OG new one I have. I have another one here that's a little bit more beat up, but you got to go with the confidence bait. So if you're fishing the water that you're not fishing too frequently. And that's on my standard top water rod with mono 16-pound mono Sunline monofilament on that one. As I mentioned, Steve Cooper for really kind of the last couple weeks has been talking about the jerkbait bite. So I got a Lucky Craft. This is a flash minnow, and I added a feather treble. I replaced the hooks with some Gavin Katsu hooks on there. So Steve Cooper, that one's for you. Jerkbait. Wasn't something I was really planning on throwing. Throwing treble hook baits and all the grass and stuff out there is kind of tough, but as you see by this one here, it's got a small bill on it, so this doesn't dive too deep. As far as the tides go, we do have a high tide about 6 a.m. Before we blast off, and outgoing tide all morning until noon, and then from noon till weigh-in we'll have the incoming tide. So kind of one of those rarities where you actually have the high tide at 6 and then the low tide at noon. So frog, the next one here, can't go to the Delta without a frog. You know, I think the frog bite's been kind of petering down, but I think on the low tide, you get some of those grass mats, this might produce. It's always worth a try when you're out there to throw a frog. Another one of my reaction baits, again, like I said, the crankbait bite has been picking up, from what I understand, is a biggie crankbait, square bill, in a perch color. Kind of trying a variety of different colors. There's shad colors, you know, craw colors. That sounds like that's been kind of dying off on the shad color or the crawdad colors, and more of the shad colors because they've been chasing bait. So I'm gonna go with the perch color, kind of in between, I would say, on that. But you know, got a ton of crankbaits. If that's not working, I could always change up to something different. So that's the crankbait. Now I do have one spinning rod with a drop shot. This is the Daiwa by Yamamoto worm here. It's got a lot of thump on his tail, so only bringing one spinner rod for this tournament, and that is a drop shot, something you can pitch out there around the outside edges of the grass. Moving on here, another reaction bait, Mr. B underspin with a Kitech. This is a 4.3 Kitech on there with a 1/4 ounce Mr. B underspin head. And this is the alewife color. If you didn't know, it's the alewife color. So I got that to throw around the grass as well. So if they're chasing bait, maybe they'll hit that. Kind of what I did last 2 months ago was just punching. This is my punch rig. This is my Dobbins 795 flip. Got an old Revo on here. So just gonna do 1.5 inch weight. I got 2 bobber stoppers on here, and then the flipping hook with the Yamamoto flapping hog on there as well. So this was really productive for me 2 months ago out there. So I'm just gonna stick with it and throw that thing until my arm falls off. One more bait. This is kind of a what if bait. Steve Cooper again has been talking about some glide baits and stuff, and this is just an old AC plug. Had success with this years ago out there in the Delta. Something that goes just under the surface, nice jointed. This is kind of an old school bait on the AC plug, and the trout color. So I can throw that around the outside edge, and maybe I'll catch a big one. Maybe I'll catch some stripers on that too. So you never know. A few more reaction baits. Again, the variety of the colors, kind of just mixing it up. This is a Mr. B swim jig in a bluegill color and a green pumpkin trailer on there. You can see that Mr. B swim jig, similar to the chatterbait, which I'll get to next. Something I can throw through the grass and around the grass and try and get some of those. If that's not working, I can switch to a white color shad and give that a try. Next is Mr. B chatterbait in crawdad color. Again, you get to just trying to mix up the colors. Don't want all bluegill, don't want all shad. Mr. B crawdad chatterbait with a Littlefoot lures, little creature bait on there. A lot of action with those legs on there. And then as an option, you got the traditional. This is what I was using a couple of months ago, is the white on white chatterbait with the little crawdad rage crawl on the back of that. Again, puts out a lot of action. Caught 2 or 3 fish on this last time out there. Couple more rods here. Senko. This is a 6-inch Senko. I always throw this on the Delta, like the 6 inches over the 5 inches out there, just because it sinks a little better and a little heavier, better to cast. All right, another one here is the Mermaid. This is the Yamamoto Mermaid on a flipping hook. You see I used double bobber stoppers on there. This is a 1/2 ounce weight, tungsten, Woo tungsten weight. And another flipping bait, not quite as heavy as the punch rod, but something I can get down there, you know, on the outer edges, or a little more sparse grass. I can flip this around those outer edges. And then last but not least is a spinner bait. Again, just throwing through the grass. Kind of a bluegill color. You can see that there. This has got a Yamamoto single tail grub on it as well. And again, if that's not working, I can put on a Mr. B spinner bait, a white, you know, white with silver blades, white with gold blades, white with white blades. So there's some options there on the spinner baits. The weather's been kind of up and down this week. You probably can't see behind me, but it's kind of overcast and gloomy right now. It's kind of chilled down a bit. Tomorrow's supposed to be in the upper 70s. Should have sun mostly. Few clouds that might help the topwater bite, and see if that goes throughout the day. So that's all the rods I got rigged up. If you want any information about what rods I'm using, let me know. Shoot me a comment. As far as my punch rig, I do use 50-pound braid. I don't go to the 65 or even 80-pound braid, just because I don't punch that often, a couple times a year. I do like the 50-pound braid personally. It's a lot softer, smaller diameter, and since I do use this rod for jigs most of the year, I can put on a 20 or 25-pound fluorocarbon leader and throw jigs on that just as well. And it's a lot more manageable. The 65-pound braid I had on before, the Power Pro, was a little stiff, a little coarse, and I just, for year-round usage, I just don't care for it, so I just go with 50-pound, and I haven't had any problems with punching the grass out there on the Delta. And so that's my personal preference. I know other people use a lot heavier line, but just not my thing. And most of my lines like about 15 to 17 pound test for my lures that I go out there on the Delta with. Drop shot is a 10-pound leader, something a little more finessey, but that's about it. So thanks for watching. Like I said, if you're down in LA, check out some Pop Fuji. It's kind of hard to find up here in Northern California, but it's a good beer to try if you ever find it. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications, and we'll catch y'all next time.